Gonna be the headphone wearer. You're like,
there have to be somewhere. Has to be someone in the podcast wearing it.
Yeah, like eventually the Declan maybe.
What's the guy who Jamie?
Yeah, he'll
Jamie.
be like the quiet like guy with headphones just behind a computer.
And he occasionally goes, yeah, no, it was 300,000 people died in that.
Yeah, and he just chimes in randomly, and his mic is like a completely different, like it's got a different timbre. So when he talks, it's like. Actually, I haven't started this.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, we'll get the camera.
No, that's right. That was just the introduction.
Welcome to Kunjiland.
Welcome to Kunversations. My name's Nick from Kunji, and
I'm Ciaran, and this is Kunversations, the official first episode.
I would say this is the official first episode.
We've done many podcasts in our time, but none have gone to air.
Yeah. And
they were all in the lead up for this very episode.
Considering that we started Kunji as well, that sort of works as well, right?
Indeed.
In lockdown?
Yes, it was 2020. Lockdown had just begun, the first one, and we got into surfing. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to...
This podcast is sponsored by Resh's Dinner Ale.
Oh, just like that.
Available at all good bottle shops.
Pretty sure it's actually just at Liquorland. I've been looking for these for ages. Coppo, our manager, when did we get Coppo on? That was...
Joshua Copeland-Nielsen.
He's our manager.
He's an artist, printmaker from the Northern Beaches. Friend of the pod, friend of the band, friend of us all, like friend to everyone in general. Everyone who meets him becomes friends with him. And... yeah, it just looks like the waveform... No, hello! Looks like the waveform's gone a little bit small. We'll just gain it up a slight bit. Hopefully that's alright.
I think that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we laugh and it blows out, who cares? It's the first pod. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
We're just recording into GarageBand, and we're recording on a blue mic.
Blue Snowball Ice, that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm. And we've got a Sony camcorder filming the video component for all those viewers at home. But we have a fisheye lens.
Has that got a built-in fisheye?
No, I bought that fisheye at Vinny's Sutherland.
And it just fit that camera?
It happened to fit, very luckily. It happened to fit.
What are the chances of that?
$10. Not bad.
Oh, wow. I was here with Bongo, and he was like, oh, man, are all these your cameras? And I said, no, these are like some of mine, some of Kieran's. Because we got that one.
Yeah.
And then, you want to bring it up?
Oh, we'll just do a little bit of show and tell.
Show and tell. Yeah.
It actually works, but it's hard to find.
Look at that. Hold it up.
Good quality tape.
Look at that. How old do you reckon that is? Like 90s, isn't it?
80s, mid-80s, I reckon.
Yeah. And does that take us like a full length, like VHS, hey?
Yeah. That's like you would put a big tape in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one I tried to get working. This is the Super 8 camera. But it sort of like doesn't work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a bit of a yoy.
It is a bit of a yoy.
But we're here to announce first and foremost the release of The Last Ride, which is a single off our upcoming debut EP. Apologies, as a loud beep has just begun.
Alright, continue.
The Last Ride no, it's just called The Last Ride. It's our single. And we'll just do a little edit. No, we won't do an edit.
No, we won't. Just keep it going. Just keep it going.
Okay.
Screw it.
The single, we're here to announce that there is a single coming out this Friday on the 27th of January, day after Invasion Day.
No, don't do it, Dylan.
The day after Australia Day is The Last Ride will be released, and it's a single, the second single to be released off of our debut EP called Salt and Fury by Kunji Fury.
That's right, that's who we are.
And for you lucky listeners and viewers who are actually watching, we're going to show it to you. This is a first look for all the very special people who have joined us today on our first official Kunversations pod.
This is the box that they came in. But ASMR.
Yeah. unboxing video.
Unboxing. Here we go. I'm gonna pick one out.
Yeah,
for
getting
random.
greasy mitts all around it.
And this one that we're gonna pick out, we're gonna sign this one
Live on pod.
live on the pod.
Unique
we're gonna
pod
sign
signed EP.
This is the one I picked it out at random, and as you can see here, Joshua Copland Nielsen, our friend, manager, multi-talented friend, designed this with photos on the back taken by Ciaran and I, Josh. I'm sure there's been ones taken by maybe Jasmine here.
Yep.
But yeah, it's really cool, and we'll do a little opening.
Yeah, pop that plastic cherry.
And we recorded this. There you go.
No, edit that bit out.
So you have to leave all of this in.
Yeah, we're not going to edit unless we say something
Completely
completely off colour.
Okay. There we go. It's in the little sleeve, and then as you can see, the grand reveal, our little 7-inch EP in the light
Wow.
is see-through blue. It's like ocean blue.
Yeah, it's Kunji
like
blue.
aqua. Yeah, Kunji aqua.
It's a completely unique EP. No other band has ever released a 7-inch vinyl on Kunji blue vinyl clear wax.
Yes, it's clear wax.
And it's got the design in the middle of it.
Yeah.
With the tracks that pertain to that side of the EP. So on that side that I'm showing you is 7 Waves and The Last Ride.
Yep.
And the other side is June and Wayfarer. So very unique. And
yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out.
I'll get a marker and we'll sign this live on pod, and this will be the pod specific EP.
There's one in the drawer maybe. But yeah, we actually recorded this EP in summer of at the end of 2021.
It was December 2020.
Sorry. Was it? December 2020?
December 2020.
Oh, sorry, yeah, December 2020
Yeah.
and into January 2021. We were doing like pickups and stuff like that. And it was mixed by Dylan Wallace. And we're doing a live edit of this, or we're doing a live signing of that. That's Ciaran's
signature.
Alright, and then I'm going to do mine, so I'm not faking it here. NB Cook. There you go, that's me.
And this copy will be... so we pressed 150 of these. This is, I'll write it, number 2 of 150.
Number 2.
Yeah, number 1 went
Yes.
to Tom Grote.
That is fair enough.
Because he actually appears as
Yes.
he is the surfer on that wave. This is a photo that I took at an undisclosed surfing spot nearby.
Yeah.
And Tom Grote is the surfer in that photo, but we didn't credit him. No credit whatsoever for him being on the cover. So
Did you just realise that?
Well, no, I realised
thought
that
it
when I was showing it to him. I was like, wow, we didn't even credit him as being on the cover. And he's the surfer on this,
I think he was still pretty stoked though.
And he was very stoked, but I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Because you're on the cover, you're the guy surfing on our surfing EP. You get number 1. And
Totally.
I signed it and numbered it 1 out of 150. So he has the number 1.
And Tom's got his Land of the Unknown shaping thing that he's got.
Yeah,
going
Tom
on.
Grote is also a local shaper and surfer figure. But we won't do too much talking about Tom Grote today, because he will be appearing on the pod at a later date.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Among other people that are in and around.
Many friends of the pod. So,
Yeah.
Coppo, who we mentioned earlier, who designed this EP cover and the back and everything related, he and I have actually recorded 2 episodes of the pod, unprofessionally, unofficially.
Where
we
at?
did them on his phone,
Oh, yeah.
just using the voice memo app.
Yeah.
So maybe we can like use those at some point in another pod that's professionally recorded, like splice it in or something. But yeah, me and him did 2 like practice pods, I guess you could say.
I've done 2 as well.
So yeah, so we've got a few pods already recorded. Nick and I used to do our own little silly podcast called The Basil and Vine. Which was just usually we would do it at dinner. We would get my GoPro and turn it on and just record the conversation at dinner, which is kind of how we want this podcast to be. We just purely want it to be conversations, unforced, storytelling, just random shit and funny
Off the
banters
cuff,
and
off the cuff,
yeah,
sort of stuff. Yeah, I've done one with Jasmine because she was doing my tattoo while she was doing my tattoo, and I also did one with my friend Richard, who's a surfer as well. So they all come out in due time when they come out. But we're actually gonna keep recording stuff. Hopefully this year we've got a lot more originals. We've got Krill.
we're talking about music here now, not
talking
podcasts.
about music here. Kunji will record, and we're going to keep on pushing the limits hopefully this year and experimenting and doing stuff with
Just
new
putting
sounds.
this sticker,
What's that for?
just so we know that this is the podcast specific.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Christmas sticker.
That's all right. We'll know now.
But I'll put it
Put on the edge?
Put it on the very front of this box.
Alright,
yeah.
cool. So, you just came back.
Hang on, before we move on, to win this podcast specific
Okay.
EP, you must, when we post this podcast to our relevant platforms, you must comment tagging 2 friends, share the podcast post to your story, and be following us. Do those 3 simple things,
Simple.
and you're in the running to win the Kunji podcast specific
Chosen at random.
vinyl, which is number 2 of 150, and you'll be getting it for free.
That's pretty hectic. That sounds like a good
That's
deal to
an
me.
awesome deal.
That's an awesome deal.
So share the pod, guys.
Considering all the things we had to do to actually get this to where it is, recording, sending off to Melbourne.
Yeah!
It was Melbourne.
we just blew out look at the waveform.
Yeah!
Okay.
This is going back.
But yeah, it's January. What is the date today? It's January 22.
22nd of January.
So I've just had my 23rd birthday. I was born January 15th,
What time? Do you know?
9 p.m.
Jeez, you were late.
January 15.
That's fine.
And we're both January babies, aren't we, Nick?
I'm Jan 30th. I've got mine in, 7 days. 7 full days. I'll be
7 days is all she wrote. A kind of ultimatum note she gave to me.
Oh, gave.
She gave to me. That'll have to be inside joke number 1.
Yes.
Pod.
Oh, well, that's everyone should know about that song.
Yeah, that's
7 days.
Yeah, we're quoting 7 days by Sting. But
Sting. I don't know what Sting's doing right now.
Yeah.
I think he's probably
like
reading a book or something.
fucking like a really young.
I'm pretty sure he's married.
No,
I'm pretty sure.
for some reason, Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, whenever he talks about Sting, he always brings up the fact that Sting is a really super fit 60-something-year-old guy.
Cool.
He's one of those people who got old but stayed really fit.
Yeah.
He always talks about how Sting is probably fucking a really young fan of his music or some shit. And it's completely just slanderous, but it's it's funny.
No. I always get my mum really annoyed because whenever she brings up or loves that song every week, what is it?
Englishman in New York.
Every breath you take.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "Oh, Mum, everyone calls that song the rape song or the pedo song because it's every breath you take, I'll be watching you." And Mum's like, "No, it's not like that, Nicholas."
Okay. I'm gonna have to censor the word rape. No, I'm joking.
No. That's what other people say.
Yeah. Not us. I hope this waveform is looking very spiky. I'm hoping it's not going to be too. Did we turn it down or turn it up?
We turned it
We'll
down.
just leave it. We already said that we weren't going to touch
Yeah,
it.
that's alright. All right. So you just came back from
Kosciusko.
Mount Kosciusko.
From Mount Kosciusko, highest elevated point of Australia.
What happened?
What happened? Okay, so I went to Kosciusko with my cousin, Tom Basher. And Tommy is a year and a half younger than me, and he's a really close friend and cousin. And we do lots of silly things together, we grew up together, He's a farm boy from Nowra, and I grew up in the city, but we'd always go down to Nowra and he's a real knockabout lad. And
Knockabout.
Yeah, knockabout. That phrase is quite funny. He's a knockabout lad, and he gets up to all kinds of mischief. And he brought along his friends Colby and Jake, and we all drove down in a van that I hired, and we camped at a place called Jacob's River.
Not Jacob's Creek, Jacob's River.
Jacob's River.
Cool.
And it was this campsite about an hour outside of Jindabyne. And bloody drove down there, set up camp.
Was it cold?
It was cold at night. It was only probably, I would say it was low 20s during the day. And when you were if you were sitting in the sun, this is, Snowy Mountains region, middle of summer.
Yeah.
It's about, 27 at most if you're in the sun.
Yeah. That's nice.
So it's really nice. And then at night it goes cool. So it's like a desert.
Yeah.
So it was really nice, perfect camping weather. Honestly, I really recommend camping anywhere in Kosciusko in the summertime. It's good. And seeing Jindabyne during the summer as opposed to the winter was a first for me. I actually only went to Jindabyne for the first time in July, winter, 2022, and
snowboarding.
It's it's like Queenstown, New Zealand.
I've never been. Yeah.
Queenstown is like just like a lake town,
and
very village sort of atmosphere. But it gets really crowded, really expensive, really chaotic during the winter.
What was it like now in terms
of when I just having come back, it was kind of chill, laid back, not too many people everywhere, but still expensive, and still at the spots where it's like where there's things to do. It's hard to find parking, like at the snow resorts. Like we went to Thredbo and we played Thredbo golf course.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was the most unforgiving golf course I've ever played.
I've played it too.
Oh, really?
I have actually, yes.
Oh, okay.
I've played that course. And it's like, the fairway's like so narrow.
Yes.
And it's so dense on the side.
Yeah, if you go into the bushes, you've lost your ball.
Instantly.
So and crazy. If you go off the fairway, it's on, every hole is on a slope. Yep. There's a lot of blind shots.
How about that last hole where you hit down the massive hill?
That's a good hole.
That's so much fun.
I actually smashed the drive almost all the way down past the bunker just before the green.
Yeah.
And I was using higher clubs, but it was pretty good. So
it's a fun course, but it's hard.
Very hard
Super
course.
Hard.
Very, very.
Can they play
the boys were?
Colby?
They were trying. Tommy was doing this hilarious, like wide sumo stance golf swing, and it was just like hilarious to watch. And then everyone else was like having a go, and it was fun. And we were just like, it was a lot of piss take sort of golf. It wasn't like we weren't keeping scores or anything, but it was really fun. It was a 5-ball, so there were 5 of us. It was me, Tommy, Jake, Colby, and their mate Bryce.
What clubs did you use? Did you take
I just hired clubs.
Oh, okay, right.
And it was kind of weird because the whole trip I never had charge on my phone. It was really hard to get my phone. Like, I had no charge going down. Like, I swear when you don't charge your phone, you're just behind forever. Like, I didn't charge my phone before I left, and then I just never had charge the whole time. And it was just hard to find a place to charge my phone.
Did you not have a car charger thing?
I had a car charger, but for some reason it wasn't working. And then once I picked everyone else up, battery level is low.
It was going to come out probably.
Okay. Shit. We've gone dark. We've gone dark on the video.
That's all right. We'll just put clips here of other things.
Yeah, we'll put clips. Or I can just grab another camera and...
Alright, I'll just pause this.
Yeah.
Bang. Alright.
Okay, we're back. Now, where was I?
You were talking about your trip, and you were talking about golf.
Oh, yeah.
That you had to hire clubs.
Oh, yeah, we had to hire clubs, and... Tommy bloody left his phone in my bag.
And your charger wasn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah, you were saying that you had your car charger in your...
Yeah.
Your car charger wasn't working. And then...
Yeah, my car charger wasn't working, and just everyone wanted to use the charger of the van, so I never got a chance to charge my phone. And
oh, shit.
Basically, I had no phone the whole time. It's very freeing, though, not having the ability to use your phone, I find. Like, whenever my phone is out of battery and I've just got no option with the phone, it's just like, you just accept that, and you just bloody live more presently in the situation where you are.
Right.
You're more in the moment, and you're more true.
You're more down to earth.
Yeah, but
it's nice having
this.
This
is going to be quite jarring because it's gone from the fisheye to like a zoomed in visual of us. So
I'm actually keen to see it.
We've just swapped the camera because the other camera ran out of battery, and so that's why the quality is dramatically changed on the visual side of things. Audio should be fine. But anyway, I'm going to just cut straight to the funny story of the trip because this story had us truly rattled. like completely, like something like this is like, I didn't think would happen.
Go on. What happened?
So we've gone and we've climbed up Mount Kosciusko. And I did that welcome to Kunjiland at the top. You saw that.
So
right?
you're at the summit.
We're at the summit.
Right.
And sorry, Mum and Dad, but we've pulled out a joint and we've smoked a big joint, like a big fat joint, at the top of Mount Kosciusko. And there's all families around. They're kind of like looking at us and like going, no one's saying anything. Like, who's going to like report us at the summit?
Surely.
And it was fine. And so we start to descent and we're all like pretty under the influence of weed, of pot.
Devil's lettuce.
Yeah. And there were 4 of us up there and we were making our way down. And we get to a place called Seaman's Hut.
Mm-hmm.
Seaman's Hut is a small stone hut with a roof, and it's like a used hut, but it's kind of like also a point of interest where it's like you can't go in, but you can look at it. And it was just a cool, notable little part of the hike. And we were like gazing upon the hut and going, wow, this is cool. We want a photo with this hut. And there was no one around, but then we were trying to take the photo and it wasn't really looking good. And then this kind of old man, I knew he was kind of old. He had a cane and he was moving very slowly, and he just suddenly appeared from around one of the corners of the hut to the side that we were on. And I was like, oh, we're not really getting the right photo. And then Tommy just said to him, I don't think Tommy even really looked at the man, but he was like, Tommy was like, hey mate, can you get a photo of us, please? And I wouldn't really ask an old person with a cane to take a photo of like 4 young boys in front of like not even the summit of Kosciusko. It was like just some hut. It's like not even worth asking someone. But anyway, he's asked someone, and it was an old man with a cane. And then
he was by himself.
He was by himself.
Oh,
he was wearing this jacket, red jacket, long sleeves, cane in one hand, and he sets his cane against a rock. And I look at him, and then I go, oh, God. And the man, it's an old man. He's probably in his 80s. He's quite old. Like,
tell me he was blind.
He was like 70s or something. And I'm like, oh, my God. He had one hand. He had one arm. Oh. He had one arm, right? And he goes to try and take the photo of us. Oh. And he set his cane down, and he's holding the phone, and he can't take the photo because he's only got one hand.
Oh, no.
And one of his sleeves is just draped, like there's no arm there. Oh. And we're just standing there in front of the hut, like looking at this poor old man. He's like late 70s, early 80s, trying to take a photo one-handed. It's already hard enough trying to take a photo on an iPhone, like two-handed, and he's trying to do it one hand.
Oh, no.
And he's like, and then Colby...
Don't tell me he starts laughing.
I was like, I made this sort of laugh. I was like that.
Oh, fuck.
That sort of laugh. I laughed.
Oh, fuck.
And then Jake looked at me and we smiled. And then bloody Colby couldn't take it.
Oh, no.
And he goes, do you need a hand, mate? He said, do you need a hand, mate? And the guy was like, yeah, I'm struggling to find the clicker. And then Colby's like, yeah, it's here. And he's like, yeah, I'm only one-handed. I've only got one arm. And we were just like we were really stoned as well. So none of us like responded accordingly. Like, none of us were like, oh, it's fine, like, don't worry. We were all kind of just laughing and like chuckling and like looking at each other weirdly. And like not even like proper, like it would have been funny if we had been like, if we had just been like, oh mate, we're sorry, like we didn't realize you had one arm,
geez.
But we just didn't even like acknowledge that. He was just like, yeah, sorry, I've only got one arm. And then he like got his cane back and was like, he kind of like, he didn't even really chuckle. Like he probably just thought we were fuckwits. Like we were just so...
So was there a photo taken or not?
No photo was even taken. There was no photo taken. It was just like...
like, poor bastard.
Yeah, I think Colby was like, do you need a hand, mate? Colby didn't even register. He just said that.
Out. Did Colby at the time like...
No, Colby didn't even register that he had said that to the one-armed man. I don't even think It was quite funny, yeah. So I just made that loud noise with the coaster.
That is so funny.
But yeah, it was such a fun, the waveform. But it was such a weird, rattling moment that we were just. I had to like walk off because I was really weirded out because we were all really high and there was like an outhouse and I was just like, I'm going to the outhouse, and I walked off to this little other small outhouse and did a pee there. And then Colby followed me because Colby didn't want to be near the old man either. And Tommy was just like making like idle conversation with him, like, oh yeah, so how long have you? How did you get? Are you?
Tommy was?
You, yeah, Tom, this is Tommy. Yeah. Tommy's like, did you make it to the summit or how, is this a new hut or? He was like just trying to talk to the man and not acknowledge the fact that it was the man was missing an arm, and we just asked him, and it was just such a funny thing. And then we were all like kind of like chuckling to ourselves, and he kind of went to a different part around the side, and we were all like, Tommy, what the hell?
Oh no!
Why the hell did you do that? Why did you ask one-armed man with like a cane to play? And he's like, I didn't notice.
Oh,
and then bloody we were walking off, and like I looked back, and he was just like staring at us as we were walking off, and he wasn't angry, but he was just kind of gazing upon it, like as we were walking down the hill away from the hut.
He probably thought you were like just a bunch of disrespectful young.
Yeah, because he could see that we were all like laughing pretty fun. Yeah. Like we were laughing so hard as we were walking off. Like we weren't laughing at him; we were laughing at Tommy.
Yeah.
We were laughing at Colby.
Yeah. And just the whole situation.
And Colby saying, "Do you need a hand, mate?" Like that was just.
I can't believe he said that. As if you guys would have been pissing yourselves.
We were laughing so much the whole way back, and
oh my god,
yeah,
that poor guy.
Yeah, he was he tried his very hardest.
At least you didn't hand him like a cup and saucer or something. I've seen that on the footy show. Mario Fennick. He's like I think he used to play for the Rabbitohs, actually.
Yeah, Mario Fennick.
Yeah, there's like a segment, for some reason, he's with a one-armed man, and he hands him a cup and saucer. And the guy with one arm is just standing there with a cup, holding the saucer.
He can't drink.
It's actually ridiculous. I shouldn't be laughing, but anyway.
I'm just going to check that the video's still going.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
How far in are we?
I actually don't know. It doesn't have like a timestamp on it. I don't know how you can tell.
Why is it measuring in bars?
I have no clue.
We're on GarageBand and it's measuring the time in bars.
Notepad, loop.
Click that.
Click that?
Yeah. Yeah, go time. Yeah, time. All right, 27 minutes.
27 minutes.
We'll do a gentleman's 35 minutes.
A gentleman's 35.
Yeah, like somewhere in between, around 35.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so Kosciusko climbed to the top, was good.
Yeah.
There was another, for some reason, like there were these two guys who, they were like our age or younger, and we started the walk around the same time as them, and I don't know, for whatever reason, it was something tied into the whole bunyip law that I was telling you about earlier. We won't go into that.
Yeah.
But there were these two guys who were like, they were just random like young guys also trying to get to the summit, and so we kept overtaking, and they would stop and we'd overtake them, and we named them the little fuckies.
The little fuckies.
Yeah, we named them the little fuckies, and we were convinced that they were spying on us.
Is this after you smoked the J?
This is way before. Like, we smoked the J at the summit, and then all the weird, like, one-handed guy, that happened on the descent down after we smoked. But this is on the way up. We had these guys, and they were called the little fuckies, and they were only our age or younger, and they were just... And they said, as they passed us the first time, they said... Shaping up to be a lovely day.
That's some NPC shit. That's something that you'd hear in Skyrim.
Yeah, this is what we were saying. This is what you just said is exactly what we started saying. Like, everyone on Mount Kosciusko seemed to us to be NPCs. Like, everything everyone was saying to us was really like scripted,
yeah,
sounding.
Right.
And so we were all very like paranoid, and like we were just like saying the most weird shit and talking the biggest smack to each other, saying like, those are the little fuckies, they're spying on us, they're probably like, you know, they're writing shit down, they're thinking about things to say to us every time they pass us.
They're getting developers.
And we started saying like, oh, if they're at the summit, we're gonna bash them. Like if they're there before us, or whenever we see them next, we're gonna kill them and bash them.
And they were younger than you reckon?
They were like our age or younger. And then one of them was wearing like a brimmed hat with like a back flap.
Oh, what the
And
hell?
we were like, that guy's like a fucking idiot. Like we wanna bash that little fucky. But yeah.
One of the little fuckies.
Yeah, but they were fine, and you know, we kept talking about the little fuckies, and then there was this other guy who, at one point in the hike, I was just not wearing the best shoes, and so I got a blister on my heel. So I sat down on the side of the track, and I was wrapping my foot with bandage that I brought, and this guy and his wife pass us as I'm doing this, and Jake, Colby, and Tommy are all sitting next to me, just waiting for me to get it done so we can continue. And I think he was maybe German or some kind of European, and he was like, all good there? And I was like, yep, all good. And he's like, need a Band-Aid? And I was like rapping. I clearly had heaps of bandage.
NPC talk.
Yeah. He's like, need a Band-Aid? And I was like, clearly had a first aid thing, and I was rapping it. And I was like kind of rude to him. I wasn't rude, but I was like, nah, all good, thanks. I was like that. But I didn't look. I was like, nah, all good, thanks. And he kind of walked off, and I was like, thanks. And I just felt really bad because he was actually just trying to help. But he was just annoyed. He, for some reason, annoyed me because I was putting on bandages. We were fine, and he like just made like a bit of a deal out of it. Like he was just like, I don't know, it just annoyed me like that. He was like standing over me anyway.
He was fussing over you.
Yeah, he was fussing over me. I didn't even know him. And he just seemed also like an NPC. And then we also decided like if we were to catch up to him that we were going to bash him.
Fuck's sake. Just angry young men. Absolute angry, just violent young men.
And we did catch up to him. And then as we were catching up to him, the others were like, okay, Ciaran, you lead the way now. You're gonna
have to bash him.
You're gonna have to say something or bash him. And then as I passed him, I said, getting there.
Yeah, you really bashed him. God, you really smashed
him. And then he looked at me, and and I smiled, and then he was like, yeah, getting there.
Oh, dude, that just reminds me when we were in Japan and we were hiking around Mount Fuji, and we saw that French guy came up to us.
George, wasn't it?
Oh, it was like Jean or George or something starting with a J. French, like pretty experienced hiker.
Yeah.
And because Ciaran and I had gone to Japan and we did a day trip to Mount Fuji. And like pretty spontaneous. I was wearing my RM Williams boots. My RM Williams boots. And I don't know, we had like one small bottle of water between us. And we just said, there's like all these crazy hikes you can do like around Mount Fuji. And we chose to do one that was like a really long one.
6 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long in hindsight, but like it was just, we bit off way too much.
The hike, the Kosciusko hike was 6 hours.
Right.
But yeah, that was summiting. That had a purpose. I don't think this Fuji one was even summiting. No. It was like just a random 6 hour hike.
Yeah, and I was wearing jeans and and my RM Williams boots. And
a leather, like a black leather, like a jacket.
Yeah, I was wearing like my black leather jacket, and like instantly, like 2 minutes into the hike, I'd peeled off like 2 layers.
Yeah,
because it just got like hot, and we were like going uphill. Had my big backpack on or whatever, and we got like maybe an hour or 2 hours into it, and then this guy Jean or George, he was like just carrying this massive pack along, and he was like, "Big snowstorm coming, guys! Like, you gotta." Do you remember that? He said that. He was like, you guys gonna be okay? And we were like, oh no. We cut back through the woods.
Yeah, we were completely unprepared. And he's like, you should probably go back to the road.
Yeah.
And he took photos with us. Like, we took photos, and he was like, he told us a little bit about his life and stuff.
I've got a photo of him.
Yeah.
From Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, and he I think you added him on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
I've got him on Facebook.
He was like mid-30s French dude, really nice. But yeah. He sent us back to the road, and then we did like a 2-hour walk back down the road to.
We took heaps of film photos. That was cool.
Yeah, and that was a really good hike. But it was just stupid. It was just like it was like spontaneous, impromptu 6-hour hike, not planned, really dumb, and like not even probably the best hike you could do around there.
No,
like a very sort of miscellaneous, like unrelated hike to Fuji. Like it was really far. You could see Fuji But it was like...
It was covered by cloud, the tip of it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was kind of an average day to even be at Mount Fuji. But it was
At least
fun.
we went there.
Yeah,
We went there and we saw
it. was good. It was fun. It was fun to go there.
That was a great trip.
Yeah, I remember like when we were trying to get to Mount Fuji, we got off the bus like way too early, remember?
Oh, and we got off at that like place with that like Ferris wheel and there was like an amusement park there.
It was like an abandoned amusement park like one town before Fuji Town.
What did we do?
We had to like run and get a bus, and we got on a bus. We had to run through like random semi-rural Japanese neighborhoods.
Yes.
To get on a bus, and then that took us to Fuji Town, and then we decided to go up some random lift to some random place. It was all very random and like unplanned.
It was completely off the cuff that day. Oh, it's 35 and a half.
That camera's also going. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the pod. Mm-hmm. It's been very fun. Very funny things have been spoken about.
Yes.
I think
it's good to have them documented, those things. Yeah. They're there forever now.
I think what would be a good thing every time you and I do a podcast together is because you've got such a long, like, moderately documented acting career.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to each time you and I do a pod, talk about one of your credits and just tell an anecdote that comes to mind about one of your credits.
That's cool. Yeah.
So for today's pod, I'd like you to talk about
what? What's the first thing that
The
comes
Legend
to
of the
mind?
Seeker.
Legend of the Seeker. Okay. That was one episode that I was featured in, and it was on Fox. I think it was on... I can't remember what it was, but it had a bit of a cult following. It was like a TV series based around like fictional characters that were like medieval. There was magic involved, and there was all these things going on. And I was cast in the final ever episode of Legend of the Seeker ever.
What year? How old were you?
I think it was 2009, I think, and I went over to... that could be completely wrong. I'm like 1 or 2 years out there. But I went over to New Zealand to shoot this, and I was over in New Zealand for about 2.5, 3 weeks. Because I was underage, my mum went with me as chaperone. So, we just cruised over to New Zealand, and we were filming in some beautiful locations. And I was actually playing the role of a kid who got killed by essentially the devil, and I get reincarnated by this character, but by the bad guy, who I forget his name, the Reaper or something like that.
What was your character's name?
The Keeper. His name. Oh well, I'm trying to remember.
Declan, wasn't it?
Declan was my name, which is incidentally the name of our bass player. My name was Declan, but Declan had actually been killed, and the whole time I had to play this character that was actually hiding the fact that he'd been reincarnated by this guy called the Keeper, who was the bad guy in the whole series. So there was a scene where I reveal myself as like a reincarnation of him. Yeah. And they did this weird thing where they sort of like merged our two voices together, of this like really deep voice and my voice. Yeah. So it was like, I am the Keeper, and then my voice would come in like, the Keeper of the Underworld. It was like, you can see it on YouTube actually.
So final episode of the Legend of the Seeker.
Season 2, episode 22.
2009,
I think, something like that. I was pretty young, and I got to go over to New Zealand and film it, and I got to work with a guy called Brian Brown. There's some really good actors in it. And
was he the main guy who had you on his shoulders?
Oh no. He was called Richard. I think his name was Richard something. But it was a cool experience, and what was something that I remember from that? The director of that episode, it was all pretty much based around this little object called the Stone of Tears. Right. Which was just like a little thing that essentially held like the power of the universe, and the Keeper just wanted to get his hands on it. So he masqueraded as this young boy who, could sort of go, oh, Richard, you want me to just hold that for a little bit to take the strain off you? Essentially like Lord of the Rings sort of thing.
So your character was actually evil?
My character was actually evil.
Oh.
Yes. So I had to play as like a good kid, but the whole time I was like the devil like underneath me.
Holy shit.
So it was pretty cool. And I actually got to keep that Stone of Tears from that episode. The director gave it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
still have it?
It's over at mum's place. So it's in a little box, and I got to keep it. And yeah, unfortunately, that series ended after that. But that was my second time going to New Zealand to film, and hopefully not the last. So that was that little anecdote from that story.
You listening, Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson, we're coming for you. Kunji's coming for you. We're going to do the soundtrack for the next Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
We're going to have to produce an hour worth of miscellaneous stuff for the next Lord of the Rings. Anyway, I think that's
about 40 minutes.
That's about 40 minutes.
And
That's pretty good.
I can hear the camera. It's making little noises.
It's whirring and humming.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think that's done.
Anyway, so it wants to turn off. So we shall end the episode here.
Oh.
That's the camera going.
Okay, we've gone dark again. And on that note, I think that thank you for listening to the first episode of Kunversations. There's going to be many more. You're going to listen to many interesting stories and funny little anecdotes. Make sure you get ready for our EP and our EP and our single that will be out on the 27th of January.
And the EP will be coming a week later, hopefully.
Yes.
Probably. And then gigs, just keep an eye on our social media.
Feb 19th.
Yeah, Feb 19 at North Wollongong, and then doing an EP launch before that. I actually haven't spoken to you about this, but it's looking like Feb 11, which is a Saturday, and that'll probably be in Newtown.
Sick.
But that will all be confirmed on the Kunji Fury Facebook and Instagram, and so just keep an eye out and listen to our songs and comment and share the pod for your chance to win the EP signed.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Anyway, Nick here signing off from Kunji.
Ciaran signing off, and welcome to Kunjiland.